Hello and welcome to a look at international soccer for the Commodore 64, a game that was released by Commodore. I know I've been covering a few games recently that was released by Commodore, but this one was a bit of a coincidence because the game I initially had planned to upload a video of turned out to be so incredibly poor, crap, unbearable, sucky, and all that good stuff, so I decided to save it for another day. Soccer, of course, is the American term for football. Um, I'm European, so I will refer to it as football. I hope people can forgive me for doing that, but I just cannot get used to calling it soccer. It is a bit weird for me. Regardless, international soccer is a football game, surprise, surprise, and I am not going to claim that it is the first, but it's definitely one of the earliest football games where it actually resembles football. As a game from 1983, the fact that it adhered to many football rules is quite surprising. There's some restrictions and limitations, the main ones being that it is 7 aside instead of 11 aside, but that is at best a minor thing and doesn't particularly hurt the game. You don't have any offside rules, you don't have any tackles, you don't have any fouls, but you do have goal kicks and throw-ins. So in that regard, it has at least the basics of football going for it. You can play this game either one or two players, and if you play it by yourself, you have a selection of difficulty level 1 to 9. I'm showcasing difficulty 1 at the moment, and later on I will showcase difficulty 5 and difficulty 9, just to give you some sort of idea of how the computer is behaving against the lowest ranks of opposition, difficulty, whatever you call it. The computer is not exactly the most challenging opponent, but as you increase the difficulty level, it will become quite a bit more challenging. This game is best enjoyed playing against another player. Any game of this type where you have the option to play more than one player should, by and large, be played with more than one player because that is far more enjoyable. From a graphical point of view, it is a bit blocky, I suppose, but you know what? All things considered, the fact that you have the amount of players on the screen at the same time without any sort of sprite flickering or hesitation or anything from the game is quite nice. No, I'm not going to try and say that the Commodore 64 can't handle a handful of sprites without flickering, but my point was more the fact that we have seen many a game where you see 5, 6 sprites and then the game becomes like an indicator light. It just blinks all the bloody time, which is not particularly interesting to look at. But from that point of view, this game is actually managing the graphics quite well. The pitch resembles a football pitch. It's not the largest football pitch in the world, but it is similar to a real football pitch to the point where you can easily identify it as being a football pitch. The audience and the stands are just blobs moving back and forth and whatnot, but you know what? Again, it's an effort that's been put into trying to make some sort of sense of having um, spectators, which adds to the overall feel of being part of a football match. The sound side of this game is not exactly the most advanced soundscape ever devised, but it is sufficient to fulfill the role it has, which is to have the sound effects you'd associate with playing football. sound of the kick, sound of the whistle, sound of those kind of things, and of course the audience when a goal is scored. It is a bit bare bone, but for a game of this age, I cannot complain about it. So of course we come down to the very important part, which is gameplay, and control is part of the gameplay. So that's why I'm bringing them into one little combined comment. I think most people know what football or soccer, whatever you call it, is, so I probably don't have to go into details concerning the rules of football. But I would rather go about what is not present because that's easier. You don't have any direct passing. You can kick the ball forward and then hope that one of your team members isn't somewhere nearby and can pick up the ball. There's no tackling, which can sometimes be extremely annoying. The way you gain possession of the ball or lose possession of the ball is that you have your player running over an opponent player. Ideally with the football, and then you hope that you happen to be getting possession of the football, and that's basically the way it works. When you are in possession of the football, your guy will run slightly slower than when he's not in possession of the football. The selection of the active player is done by the computer, and it will choose whatever player is closest to the football, and sometimes it can be a bit wonky. The goalie, when you are in control of the goalie, when the goalie is the closest to the ball, you will be in control of the goalkeeper. He cannot leave the line, which is rather obnoxious. So basically, you can do these throw saves at the ball and hope that it bounces to one of your other players so you can kick it away. Compared to more modern football games, this is rather lagging, I would assume. But you know what? It's not unenjoyable to play, especially not if you have someone to play it against. All things considered, for a 1983 game, I think this is not bad at all. Night mode, thanks for watching. Take care. See you next time. Bye bye for now.